I'm going to keep it a little shorter because most people have said things that I've already mentioned, but I do want to reiterate that I think it's important that the person who you select is somebody who's willing to think outside the box and look to other communities to see what's being done and what they are learned as being successes or failures or things that we can try to be innovative. I also think that it's really important for that person to be approachable, for that person to listen with respect and compassion to all perspectives, and that when they make their decisions that they will weigh all the options, consider all the impacts, and truly make a thoughtful decision with the community's best interest at heart. Thank you.
My name is Chris Gibson. I'd like you to keep in mind when you appoint somebody that you appoint somebody who could represent the entire community rather than just a percentage of the community. Thank you very much.
Steve Galmini from here in Ukiah. I would like to speak in favor of the name John McCowan. And secondly, whoever has demonstrated in recent years a commitment to the values that John has represented and that the voters voted for 2 years ago. And I think that is crucial, and the people that did vote to support him at that time would like to see someone that will likely do similar things and has been working on similar things perhaps and has shown a commitment to the values in the community that John has shown. And I'll be that brief. My other comments were preempted by a fellow named Connerton, and then he left, so I can't embarrass him here any. But I hope that what you select or who you select is consistent with the values of the person leaving the position. Thank you.
Further suggestions for the council before we move toward a decision? None? Well, let's wait about 30 more seconds to see if people want to help us out here any more than they already have.
Anyone?
This is one of the most difficult decisions. I've been through this process, I think 3 times, and most elected officials steer away from situations where they have to say no and or alienate people. But here we are, we're sort of stuck, and someone will be alienated by the vote we make, and it's a difficult one. Further comment? Okay. Public input time is up, and we're going back to the council to discuss either the process or for nominations. Councilmember Crane?
Well, I would appreciate a review of the process. Our attorney has arrived, and perhaps he could elucidate the process
That would be
that has
tremendous.
been taken in the past, and then maybe we can discuss if that's the way we want to do it this time, or if we think it should be done somewhat differently before we actually dive in and do it.
Okay, City Attorney, David, report.
Well, I think the standard practice has been that somebody starts the nomination process and they make a nomination. If they get a second, then there's a vote on that candidate. If that candidate's selected, that's the end. If not, then you go on to someone else. What I don't recall is how you pick the first person to, in what order you allow council members to make nominations. And I know that you've done, for other appointments that you do, you kind of have a schedule. You do a reverse order of seniority, and the city clerk keeps track of who got the last nomination, and then the next person on the list is the one that gets to make the next nomination. You really aren't bound by that in making this decision. So it's really up to you to decide how you want to do that. But it seems to me that it's been a nomination, second, and vote process. And the real question you haven't discussed with respect to this particular decision is in what order you're going to take nominations.
I agree completely, and my memory's about as good as yours.
We're about the
I
same
would hope
age,
there
huh?
we would want a seconding process. That would help eliminate an embarrassing situation. I think a second would be very valuable if we get a nomination. Whether we just take a nomination from the first person who wants to make it, or whether it's by seniority, is less significant to me than that there be a second. If we were to go by seniority, I believe it would be anyone other than the mayor, and that would be our most senior non-mayor council member would be Maury Roden. But I think anyone should be able to make a nomination.
Just to clarify, I think you said that we had gone in reverse seniority order. You didn't say that?
No, I didn't.
It was in.
If I said that, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
That's generally how we vote on other
Right, and I
issues.
thought that's what you said.
No, it was based on seniority, but you kept track, and you kept track separately for each
Yeah,
position
no.
that you do an appointment for.
So before we get to any nominations, is there further discussion about the process? Councilmember Crane.
Should we discuss our respective thoughts on the merits of various candidates? Or,
That's up to each individual council member, I would think.
because that might be helpful in
But-
determining whether there's likely second or not.
If, the way our meetings normally run is we have a discussion, and at any point during that discussion, if someone is prepared and ready, they make a motion. So I would assume we would operate in the same fashion tonight. So do you have discussion?
I would
On the
appreciate the
contenders.
opportunity to review some of the remarks made by the applicants and key those to some of the remarks that were made by people who spoke afterwards regarding criteria. Mr. McCowan brought strong work ethic, an interest in fiscal responsibility, an interest in learning about how everyone is going to be affected by a decision, and was willing to make the hard choice as to the greater good, which, as you've pointed out, quite often doesn't please everyone. There's one of the folks came up and said, we want someone who represents everyone, which I thought was interesting because I don't think there's any one of us that always satisfies everyone. Because, and I've spoken to this in strategic planning and other opportunities with the council, that no two of us hold the exact same value sets. We don't have the same experiences. And the key is that we respect each other and listen, and then we synthesize out of that what our action is to be as a group. And if one of us doesn't agree with it, and we lose it 1-4 or 2-3, we don't get bent out of shape about it. We just move on and we deal with the next thing. Because if we take it personally, then we're not going to be effective in explaining our thoughts. We're going to diminish the ability of the body. We have two candidates who have run.